Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to the online lecture on control systems theory. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, which is analysis of control systems in frequency domain. So far we have discussed the analysis of control systems in time domain, where we studied the formulas for rise time, settling time, percentage overshoot, and delay time. And we saw what are the formula values for these quantities for standard first order and second order systems. And in this lecture we are going to study the analysis of control systems in frequency domain, which will lead us to some frequency domain performance specifications for linear time invariant systems. So what is a frequency domain representation? Basically your transfer function that you use, that is a frequency domain representation of the system. And if you have a closed loop system like this, where you have a plant and in the feedback there is a controller or maybe the dynamics of the sensor, then the closed loop transfer function is given by direct path over 1 minus loop gain. So this is the transfer function between the desired value of the output and the actual output for the closed loop control system with negative feedback. And let S, this is the Laplace variable S, and when we put this S equal to j omega, then actually we are explicitly including the frequency variable omega into our representations. And we can always rationalize the denominator and find out the magnitude of this transfer function with respect to omega as a function of omega. And we can also find because this transfer function is basically a complex number, and every complex number has a real part and an imaginary part, and also every complex number can be represented as its magnitude and angle or phase. So we can this complex number or closed loop transfer function can be represented as the magnitude of the transfer function times e raised to the power j times the angle or argument or phase of the transfer function. So the question is that at what frequency value is the magnitude maximum? So whatever frequency achieves the maximum magnitude for this transfer function, we call that frequency resonance frequency. And in this lecture we shall be trying to find out the formula or equation that will give us resonance frequency from the representation or the expression of the transfer function. Second question is, what is the maximum value of the magnitude of j omega itself? That we call resonance peak. So basically resonance peak is the value of the magnitude of m of j omega at resonance frequency. So when the frequency is equal to resonance frequency, the magnitude is equal to its maximum value, which we call resonance peak. And then finally we have a question, at what frequency this magnitude is equal to 0.707. This is basically half dB bandwidth or bandwidth of this transfer function. If you have already studied signal processing, then you can know you will know that every filter also has a transfer function. And for filters, or the signal processing filters, low pass, band pass, or high pass filters, we have the 3 dB bandwidth or half magnitude bandwidth. So this is that kind of bandwidth for this closed loop transfer function. So this is the frequency range from 0 up until omega bandwidth, till which the magnitude of the transfer function is substantial, or the magnitude is noticeable magnitude. After that the magnitude is quite low or less than half. So that at those higher frequencies we may not, these kind of things are used in designing the controller for different kind of performances. And also the bandwidth corresponds to settling time in time domain. So if you have a system with high bandwidth frequency, then it means that the settling time for the system would be less. And similarly, resonance peak and resonance frequency, these are the frequency domain specifications based on which we do the frequency domain analysis of the system. These are analogous in time domain to rise time, settling time, percentage overshoot, etc. All right, so time domain versus frequency domain. So in time domain, we plot the magnitude of the transfer function, the closed loop transfer function, as a function of frequency. And at some frequencies it has a high magnitude, at other frequencies it has the peak magnitude. This is the resonance frequency, where the magnitude is the highest, and the value of the magnitude at the resonance frequency, that is resonance peak. This is the resonance peak of this magnitude, closed loop transfer function. And when the magnitude falls off, then when it falls to the point of 0.707, at that point the frequency is bandwidth frequency. All right, so this is the frequency domain response of a system, and then this is the corresponding time domain response. So with the passage of time, you start with 0 initial conditions, and there is a rise time, then there is a peak time, then there is a settling time, and then there would be percentage overshoot, and maybe steady state error as well. So these kind of specs are there in the time domain. So in particular, this is the step response of a system, where you have a unit step reference input, and then your system, if it is asymptotically stable, it will behave something like this. Similarly, for asymptotically stable systems, the frequency response will look something like this. So omega bandwidth, as I said earlier, it corresponds to the settling time, and the MR corresponds to the resonance peak, corresponds to the percentage overshoot of the system. So there is some relation between frequency domain and the time domain. Okay, so frequency domain specifications, we go into further detail. So what is resonance peak? If you want to find the resonance peak, like if you want to express the resonance peak mathematically, then resonance peak is the maximum over all omega magnitude of m of j omega. So this is the what we have said earlier in terms of mathematical expression. Okay, then there is resonance frequency. Resonance frequency is the argmax. Argmax of a function is the value of the argument of the function for which the function has maximum value. So argmax of omega is the value of omega for which this magnitude is maximum. That would be resonance frequency. Then there is bandwidth, or 3 dB bandwidth. So this bandwidth is given by the frequency at which magnitude is equal to 1 over square root of 2, or which is equal to 0.707. So this is the bandwidth. And then there is put off rate. Put off rate is the slope of the magnitude for omega greater than the bandwidth frequency. So here I can illustrate with the help of the diagram. So this is the diagram of magnitude plot, and here is the bandwidth frequency. After the bandwidth frequency, the slope of the magnitude curve, that is basically put off rate. So we can compare the two curves here. The red curve has less put off rate, and the blue curve is high put off rate. So this blue curve faster put off rate, and the red curve has the slower put off rate. All right, so so far we have discussed 3 or 4 of the frequency domain specifications. I just want to slow down a little bit here, and I want to discuss the practical implications of these frequency domain specifications. So you see, we are usually usually we study the systems or understand the systems in terms of time domain, and we understand how the magnitude of a system varies with respect to time, and how the system settles down or increase in magnitude or decrease in magnitude with respect to time. Frequency domain does not work in the same way as time domain. Frequency domain tells us that what are the frequencies at which the system operates. For example, an electric circuit at your homes, it operates at 50 hertz frequency. The voltage supply that is coming in Pakistan is 50 hertz, so it is operating at a single frequency. Similarly, you may have studied the Fourier series. So Fourier series basically tells you that any periodic signal is basically a sum of different components. So that is what we are looking at in this lecture, that what kind of frequencies give maximum magnitude of the transfer function, and what kind of frequencies give lesser amount of magnitude. So what happens is that the magnitude of the transfer function is similar to the gain of the transfer function. So imagine an operational amplifier, and you pass the signal of some magnitude, and it is multiplied with the gain, and at the output you get the input signal multiplied with the gain of the amplifier. So this is similar for the transfer functions. The magnitude, if you apply a signal to a transfer function, in this case the transfer function is the transfer function of the closed loop system. So if you give it a signal of certain frequency, then how will the output behave? Like, what would be the magnitude of the output signal? So these kind of things we can answer using the frequency domain specifications and frequency domain analysis. Basically, resonance frequency tells us the frequency at which there is maximum gain available in the given transfer function or given closed loop system. And similarly, bandwidth frequency tells us that what is the range of frequencies for which we have reasonable magnitude of the gain, and after which the gain becomes very small. So this can help us in determining whether certain disturbances or unwanted signals, would they disturb, how much would a signal be able to disturb the output of a closed loop system, depending upon when the frequency of that signal. So if a disturbance signal has a frequency higher than the bandwidth of this system, then it is less likely that disturbance would cause any problems. But if a disturbance signal has a frequency equal to resonance frequency, then that disturbance would cause a lot of problems for the closed loop system. So these are some of the practical implications or practicalities related to the frequency domain specifications. And now we move forward. So frequency domain specification, so far we have looked at 4 of the specifications. There are more. So next specifications are phase margin and the gain margin. For finding the phase margin and gain margin, I have plotted here imaginary part of the open loop transfer function versus the real part of the open loop transfer function. So this is the imaginary versus real part of the open loop transfer function, G of S, H of S. Okay, so this is the basically the plot. The blue line shows the relationship between the imaginary part of the transfer function and the real part of the transfer function. Later on in the next lecture, we will realize that this type of plot is called Nyquist plot. And right now we are not calling it Nyquist plot, we are just calling it a plot, a relationship between imaginary and real part of the open loop transfer function. And if you look at this plot at certain point it crosses the negative real axis, and at certain point it crosses this is the unit circle I have drawn for reference. So there is a point at which this plot crosses the unit circle, and if I draw a vector from this point to the origin and calculate the angle from this vector to the negative real axis, that is phase margin. And if I basically the distance here, this distance from the -1 point and the point where the plot crosses the negative real axis, this distance is the measure of gain margin. Actual gain margin is basically if this point is let's say 0.2 minus 0.2, then gain margin will be 1 over 0.2, which will be 5. And if this point is 0.5, then gain margin will be 1 over 0.5, which will be 2. And if this crossing is at the origin, then gain margin will be 1 over 0, which is infinity. So gain margin can range from 0 to infinity for asymptotically stable systems. And then there is phase margin. Phase margin can range from 0 to 180 degrees. Phase margin is always measured using the point where this plot intersects the unit circle and the angle between the vector from that point to the origin with respect to negative real axis. So this angle is always measured with respect to negative real axis. This theta is phase margin. So practically speaking, gain margin is the measure of what is the maximum possible magnitude of disturbance that your system can tolerate. So imagine you have designed a closed loop control system and there are disturbances or unwanted signals acting on your system, and if you know the gain margin of your system, then gain margin tells you that up to which gains you can tolerate the disturbances without losing the stability. And phase margin tells you what kind of phase in the disturbance signal you can tolerate without losing the stability. And we have already discussed that the gain of the disturbance signal that would appear on the transfer function also depends upon the frequency of the disturbance. So if the frequency of the disturbance signal matches with the resonance frequency of the closed loop transfer function, then there is a lot of problem. But if the frequency of the disturbance signal is higher than the bandwidth frequency of the closed loop transfer function, then we have a lesser amount of problem. Then the gain of the disturbance will be low, and so our gain margin might be useful, or we may not lose stability for small gain disturbances. Okay, so gain margin is proportional to the distance of minimum value of the real part of open loop transfer function from the point -1. So basically it's the distance, it is proportional to the minus x-axis crossing of the plot and this distance. Basically this is the distance between the -1 point and the negative x-axis crossing of the plot. Then phase margin is the angle of the line joining the point of intersection of the plot with unit circle and the origin with respect to negative real axis. Usually the phase margin of 60 degree or more and gain margin of 30 dB or more are reasonable, but these are just rules of thumb. The amount of phase or gain margin which are reasonable for a system may vary depending upon what kind of system it is. Okay, now we move on to specific types of systems. The magnitude plot of first order. Let's say first we start our discussion with first order systems, and we look at the magnitude plot of first order systems, and we are already familiar with this variable tau. And let us see that the standard transfer function of a first order system is 1 over tau s plus 1, where we already know that this tau is the time constant of the system. And here this plot shows that the bandwidth frequency of this first order system is 1 over tau, So now you have a relationship between the time domain specification and the frequency domain specification, which is the bandwidth frequency. So bandwidth frequency is 1 over tau for all standard first order. Similarly, you can express the magnitude in terms of omega as 1 over square root of 1 plus tau omega square. This is what has been plotted here, and you can see that the maximum value of this magnitude occurs at omega equals 0, because this whole term is in the denominator, and as we increase omega, the overall transfer function, the overall magnitude will decrease. So the resonance peak is 1 in this case, and the resonance frequency will be 0, omega equals 0. So DC is the resonance frequency of first order transfer functions. And then similarly, the phase angle can be determined using this formula, which is tangent inverse imaginary over real part. And if you plot the real versus imaginary part of first order transfer function, the plot will always be something like this. There might be slight variations depending upon the value of this tau, but more or less the plot will be like this, and there will always be the crossing with the real axis will be at 0, which means that gain margin will be infinite. 1 over 0 would be infinite, and similarly phase margin of this system would be 180 degrees, because the crossing with the unit circle is at positive x-axis. So the angle with this crossing of the negative real axis, that is 180 degree. So phase margin is 180 degrees and gain margin is infinite for all first order systems. So this is for all first order systems, and bandwidth frequency is 1 over tau for all first order systems. So greater the tau, smaller the bandwidth. And the observations are as follows: that we have resonance peak at 1 and resonance frequency is 0. Bandwidth frequency is at 1 over tau, and we already know from our time domain analysis of control systems that basically tau is 3 times tau is nearly the settling time of the system. So settling time in terms of bandwidth frequency can be written as 3 over omega bandwidth for the first order standard systems. So this was about the first order systems. Now we move on to the second order systems. Second order standard system is given like this: omega n square over s square plus 2 zeta omega n into s plus omega n square, and zeta can be greater than 1, that would be over damped system, but zeta cannot be less than 0, because then the system would be unstable. We set d by d omega of the magnitude equal to 0, that will give us the resonance frequency, and then we can find the resonance peak, but we will not go into the derivations. We will just write here the final formula, which are also available in your textbook. Omega r, the resonance frequency for the second order systems, is omega n into square root of 1 minus 2 zeta square for zeta in the range of 0 to 1 over under root 2, that is 0 to 0.707, and for zeta greater than 0.707 the resonance frequency is 0. So this is similar to the first order systems. So for as we know that for first order systems resonance frequency is 0, for second order systems is if zeta is greater than 0.707 or 1 over under root 2, then the resonance frequency is 0. Similarly, the resonance peak is 1 over 2 zeta into 1 minus zeta square whole square root, when zeta is between 0 and 0.707, and when zeta is greater than 0.707, then resonance peak is 1. This is similar to first order systems. So when zeta is greater than 1 over under root 2, the frequency domain specification of second order system in the resonance frequency and resonance peak are same as those of first order systems. Okay, so this is the behavior for different values of zeta. If zeta is greater than 1 or zeta is 2, then this is the magnitude versus frequency plot, and this is the normalized frequency, omega over omega n. So this is normalized to make this behavior appear at 1. because this behavior would otherwise appear at omega equal omega n. So if you decrease zeta, then there is like peaking in the magnitude. The peak value of the magnitude starts to rise as zeta is decreased, and if you make zeta equal 0, then what happens is that the magnitude becomes infinite for omega equal omega n, and if you increase omega further from omega n, then the magnitude starts to decrease again. So this is the type of behavior that second order standard systems show with respect to zeta. And you can also plot resonance peak versus zeta. So resonance peak versus zeta graph is something like this. It goes to infinity at zeta equal 0, and at zeta equal 1 over square root of 2, the resonance peak is 1. Okay, so then there is magnitude. So bandwidth frequency is the frequency at which the magnitude is 1 over square root of 2, and in this case for standard second order systems, the bandwidth frequency is equal to omega n into 1 minus 2 zeta square plus square root of 4 zeta raised to the power 4 minus 4 zeta square plus 2 whole square root. So this is the expression for bandwidth frequency for standard second order systems, and in this expression you can see that the bandwidth frequency depends mostly on the natural frequency of the system. So at zeta equal 1 over square root of 2, the bandwidth frequency will become exactly equal to omega n. And if we have different zeta, like for example when zeta is nearly 0, then the bandwidth frequency will be nearly 1.55 times omega n, and when zeta is nearly 1, the bandwidth frequency will be 0.4 times omega n. So bandwidth frequency varies between half of omega n to 1.5 times omega n. So this is how bandwidth frequency is related to the natural frequency, and the variable here is zeta or the damping ratio. Okay, so far we have observed that the resonance peak for standard second order system depends upon zeta only, and this is just like overshoot. We have seen earlier that the percentage overshoot for the LTI second order systems is given by 100 times e to the power minus pi zeta over square root of 1 minus zeta square, and that is only dependent upon zeta. And similarly resonance peak is also only dependent upon zeta. Bandwidth frequency is a function of zeta times omega n, and this function varies from 0.4 to 1.5. And to obtain the desirable resonance peak, you can use the value of zeta, and in order to obtain the bandwidth frequency, you can use the value of natural frequency. So these are the main observation for second order system. So far we have looked at the definitions of different frequency domain specifications, and we have looked at the formula for first order and second order systems, and now we'll just look at a couple of examples to clarify what we have studied concept. Alright, so the first example is the example of first order system, where we have to calculate the bandwidth frequency of this first order system. So the system is g of s is equal to 1 over 5s plus 1, and the question is to calculate the bandwidth frequency. And we know that comparing the standard form of first order transfer function with the given transfer function, we know that the tau in this case is 5 seconds. So the bandwidth frequency we already know for first order systems is 1 over tau, which will be 0.2 radians per second. So this is the example of how to calculate bandwidth frequency of a given first order transfer function. Let's look at another example. We need to calculate the bandwidth frequency of another first order transfer function, but this time the transfer function is not in standard form. So first of all we convert it into standard form. So we take this 2 as a common, and then this becomes 0.5 s plus 1, and this 0.5 we just keep out separate, and then this is treated as the standard form. And in this form we can see that tau is equal to 0.5, and for tau equals 0.5 the bandwidth frequency will be 2 radians per second. So this example shows you how to deal with the situation where the transfer function is not in the standard form. You convert it into the standard form by taking constants as common out of the so in this case we took 2 as common, which becomes 0.5 because it was taken common from the denominator. Okay, so next example is the second order transfer function, where we need to, this is the second order transfer function given to us, and we need to determine the resonance frequency, the resonance peak, and the bandwidth frequency of the second order system. And let's see how we find that. So comparing the system with standard form, you can see that this is the omega n square. So if omega n square is 1, then it means that omega n itself is also 1, because we deal with only positive frequencies. And if omega n is 1, then 2 zeta omega n, this 2 zeta omega n is also 1, which means that 2 times zeta is 1. If 2 times zeta is 1, then zeta should be 0.5. So we have calculated the value of omega n and zeta from the given transfer function, and then now we will calculate these quantities, the frequency domain specifications, using the value of zeta and omega n and the formulas that we have learned in this lecture. Since zeta is less than 1 over under root 2, 1 over under root 2 is 0.707 and zeta is 0.5. So we shall be using the formulas that apply to values of zeta less than 1 over under root 2. So we have the resonance frequency shall be given by omega n into square root of 1 minus 2 zeta square, and that will be 0.5 radians, 0.25 radians per second. And similarly, resonance peak will be equal to 1 over 2 zeta into square root of 1 minus zeta square, and when we plug in the value of zeta as 0.5, we get 1.1547. And then finally the bandwidth frequency, we plug in the value of omega n equal 1 and zeta equals 0.5, we get the bandwidth frequency 1.272 radians per second. So now you know how to calculate the frequency domain specifications for the LTI systems, at least the first order and the second order systems. That is all I wanted to discuss in this lecture, and before I conclude, I would just briefly revise the whole lecture in a couple of minutes so that we understand what we have learned today. So we have started with the definitions of the frequency domain specifications. So frequency domain, we have the closed loop transfer function, we put S equal j omega, and then we have magnitude and the phase of the transfer function, and then we have seen that what are the frequencies at which the magnitude is maximum, that is what is the resonance frequency, what is resonance peak, and what is the bandwidth frequency. All of these terms are related to this transfer function of the linear time invariant system. So we look at time domain versus frequency domains responses. So step response goes like this, which involves settling time, rise time, steady state error, and so on. And the frequency domain response goes like the initial gain at the DC gain. In this case, this is the DC gain, which is the gain of transfer function at 0 frequency, DC gain, resonance peak, bandwidth frequency, and the put off rate after the bandwidth frequency. So these are all there in the frequency domain, and there is a relationship between time domain and frequency domain, where omega bandwidth corresponds to settling time and the resonance peak corresponds to percentage overshoot. And then we looked at the definitions, the mathematical expressions, the general definitions for these frequency domain specifications. Resonance peak is the maximum over all omega magnitude of m of j omega. Resonance frequency is arg max over all omega magnitude of m of j omega. Bandwidth frequency is the frequency at which magnitude is equal to 1 over square root of 2. Put off rate is the slope of m of j omega for omega greater than the bandwidth. And we looked at two plots where one plot has faster put off rate and the other one has slower put off rate. And then we looked at the Nyquist plot or imaginary versus real plot of the open loop transfer function, and we see that this plot cuts the unit circle at certain point and cuts the negative real axis at another certain point. These 2 points are very important to us because this point tells us that how much magnitude of disturbance we can accommodate without losing the stability, and this point tells us that what phase difference we can accommodate without losing the stability. Phase difference in time domain corresponds to different delays. So in practical systems there might be delays in signal transmission or responding to different signals. So delays cause the phase difference, and the phase margin helps us in understanding how much delay in a practical system we can tolerate without losing the stability. So gain margin is proportional to the distance of minimum value of the real part of so this is the minimum value of the real part. So if you look at well, actually this statement is not quite right. This is not the minimum value of the real part. Real part is lesser here. Here the real part is lesser, but I should have written it is the value of the real part with imaginary part equals 0. So or I should have written it like it is the point where the Nyquist plot or this plot between imaginary and real part crosses the negative real axis. So then, but it is important to understand that gain margin is basically 1 over magnitude of this point, the crossing point, which is proportional to the distance between -1 and the crossing point, and phase margin is the angle between this vector and the negative real axis. So usual values of gain and phase margin of 60 degree and gain margin of 30 dB is acceptable, usually acceptable, not always. And then we looked at first order systems, and for first order systems we realized that resonance peak is 1 and resonance frequency is the DC frequency, bandwidth is 1 over tau, gain margin is infinity, and phase margin is 180 degree regardless of the value of tau. So these margins are quite good for first order system. And second order systems, we looked at the formulas for resonance frequency, resonance peak in terms of zeta, and then we looked at the formula, the relationship between zeta and the resonance peak, which is the peak of the magnitude of transfer function, and here it is the relation. And then we looked at bandwidth frequency relationship with the omega n and zeta, and finally we had some observations that bandwidth corresponds to the natural frequency and the resonance peak corresponds to the value of zeta. We looked at a couple of examples where we calculated the bandwidth frequency, and for second order systems we also calculated the other values such as resonance peak, resonance frequency, and bandwidth frequency. So this is all. Thank you for listening.